I'm Kim.
And I'm Tara. Welcome to Unapologetically You. Today's guest, Lorna, comes to us all the way from Australia.
Lorna runs the Australian Tapping Institute, which is a global online school for EFT.
Don't know what EFT is? Neither did we. It stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. Stay tuned to hear all about it.
Don't forget to like us on Instagram and Facebook at Unapologetically You Podcast. And please rate and subscribe on whatever platform you listen in on so that we can continue to inspire you.
Welcome, Lorna. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you share with us a little bit about your professional background, Lorna?
What I do is I run the Australian Tapping Institute. It's a global online EFT training school. For those of you who don't know tapping, we're going to teach you all about tapping. But that's my baby. My children are all grown up, so that's what I do. I teach people across the road to do tapping. I got into it. I was already a life coach and NLP practitioner, had a really great thriving practice here in Sydney, Australia. Obviously, I have a different accent to everyone else. And from there, once I learned what EFT was, the power it would give my clients, I was sold. How quick can I get qualified? How quick can I get that bit of paper? And how fast can I add it to my sessions to my clients so they can start to get the shifts that I knew it could get, that it could bring?
Yeah, absolutely. We can tell how passionate you are about this, but
for
those of us like myself, what exactly is EFT?
So let me ask you, what do you do the minute you pick up a baby?
You rock or you tap their butt, either way. Yeah.
You tap it. We tap our babies. We instinctively as humans know tapping on that human body calms the body. But we call it patting. We tap them on their back. We tap them on their bottom. Patting or tapping, it's the same thing.
Okay, so what are the benefits of it and how do you do it, I guess?
So let me take you back a little step further. So the body is energy circuitry. We all have these meridian lines that run through the body. The Chinese found them, acupuncture runs on them, acupressure points. They're all these meridians. So when you're tapping on the body, you're also activating these meridian points without needing any needles. So in the baby example, the meridians run down the back, they run under the bottom. We're tapping on those. So what it's doing is it's rewiring the thoughts and the process. From a baby's point of view, they haven't got the hang-ups us grown-ups have got. Mm-hmm. They just know it calms their system. It makes them feel calmer. So as adults and grown-ups, when we have thoughts that upset us, memories, bothersome events that happened, even back into trauma, tapping while you're having a conversation about those events that happened rewires the brain's chemistry on what happened to the event and the trauma your body holds around it. So, you're still upset about the fight you had with mum 3 days ago. This calms the energy circuitry around the conversation with mum, so you're not triggered by it, you're not upset by it, you're not re-traumatized by it. Imagine it's untagging memories. It's a kooky, funky technique, I know, but it works.
That is fascinating.
So fascinating. So it's basically just moving the energy around?
Exactly what it is. Your energy in the body gets blocked. So when we have as thoughts and memories and events and stuff that bothers us, the energy in your body actually gets blocked. And tapping while having conversation about it helps to unblock that memory. But it also it doesn't change the memory, but it saves you being triggered by the memory. So mum says something today, you're not back to being a 6-year-old standing in the kitchen where she's shouting at you. You can stand here today as a grown-up and have a different relationship with mum because you're not triggered to being 6 every time she gets angry at you because you're resolving those things that went on. How cool is that for changing a relationship with a parent or a child or your partner or colleagues? It's fascinating stuff.
So fascinating.
Right. So I guess in terms of tapping, is there an area on your body that you tap specifically?
There is. So there are, each meridian has a top and a bottom to it, but we just use the top of the body. So they're mainly facial points. They're like top of the head, part of the eyebrow, around the side of the face, down onto your collarbone. So there are very specific. So there are specific points.
Okay. And then who do you find obviously, like you just said, like anybody could benefit from this. Everybody has had an encounter in their life that triggers some type of emotion, right? But who do you specifically work with tapping?
Personally, my baby is training people. So I train more practitioners to go out into the world for them to go and just rock the world. My mission is to touch the lives of 1 million people across the globe. I always knew I couldn't do that single-handedly. I need a nice army to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my primary. In terms of clients, when I do see clients, I tend to get a lot of trauma clients. I tend to get a lot of people who have been abused as children and have come to me as grown-ups with just parts of their life that aren't working. We go and unravel the stuff from the childhood and the trauma and what went on now. It changes the today life they've got because they're not kind of held back in all that stuff.
Right. So what is like a typical session look like? Is that something where you actually like kind of talk about that exact moment that maybe triggers them?
Exactly. So from tapping and what I train all my students on, imagine a tabletop and table legs. So someone comes in and goes like, I just can't seem to get on with my parent, or I can't seem to do this, or something's dysfunctional. We don't want to do tapping on that tabletop. I want to know the events. I want to know the table legs. Tell me what happened when you were 15. Tell me what happened when you were 7. Tell me all the times when things happened to you, and we work on those memories. So I would maybe do some tapping on when mum shouted at me when I was 7 and I was really scared, and she came at me with a stick. And so we will actually do tapping on the conversation of what went on in that space.
Oh my gosh.
We never do the tapping on the tabletop. The tabletop is symptoms. I've gained weight. I've got a dysfunctional relationship. I'm angry all the time. They're all tabletops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The legs we want. What are the events that happen? What are the traumas? What did somebody say around you? What did someone say about you? And if you want to know the sorts of things tapping gets used for, it's not just trauma, money beliefs, weight loss, business, building your business, sporting, peak performance in sporting. There is nothing that it can't get to work on because it's the table legs we're working on.
Yeah, like getting to the root of the problem and then moving that energy that's associated with that root of the problem.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, so then when you do see clients, is this like a one-time thing? Is this something that they come to see you like several sessions for?
It depends on what they come from. So one of my favorite things to work on is cravings. You want to get rid of chocolate out of your life? I can do it in a session for you. We can get rid of, if you don't really want rid of it, don't ask me. So we can get people over cravings for, chocolate, alcohol, food, any sorts of addictions and stuff. Generally a session, we can get rid of those things. A phobia, can't stand creepy crawly spiders or snakes, whatever, we can usually do that in a session. When you've got someone,
Wow.
So from there, they're on one session-ish usually.
Mm-hmm.
But when people come with other events and things in their life, usually they're 3 to 4 sessions. 3 to 4 sessions, you've usually got a good rounded traction on most things.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then there's always going to be people who have got lots more. There's people who are going to be lots less.
Right.
But the idea is not to have someone in therapy for 6 years.
Sure.
People who come in and go, I've been seeing a therapist for 3 years. I say straight up, you're not going to see me for 3 years.
Yeah.
You're just not. That's not how I work. I want to graduate my clients out.
And for so many people, that works so good because it's not such a commitment. You can say, well, I can go try this for a couple of sessions. And then if it works, great. The
other thing, because tapping, so it's your hands, you're tapping you with your own hands. I'm not touching anyone. You take your own hands home with you. So I'm going to give you homework and give you tapping to do between sessions. So everything's fast tracked. And that was where I got sold on EFT. As a life coach, it was great traction, great results in the session. But what were they doing between sessions? What was happening when they were going to visit mum on Thursday and they're not seeing me till next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tap on the trauma while she's with mum. It just made sense. So it's a self-help tool and stuff you'll want to see a practitioner for. You might see a practitioner for 2 or 3 sessions and then go and do a lot of your own work for a while. And then you might come back. I have clients who've been coming back for the last 6 or 7 years, just with different life cycles that they're going through.
Sure. Well, because your life evolves, new instances happen. So if there's things that you have to rework through, do you find that like, have you ever done this with like younger children or like teenagers? Does this work across the board?
Totally works with everyone. Obviously, the younger the children get, A, the permission from parents, and B, the different the conversation needs to be, because they're not going to really be able to access a lot of their feelings and emotions on a cognitive space. But they certainly can tap. I think my niece was probably 8 when I got her into this.
Wow, that's young, yeah.
And imagine children in a playground being able to do some tapping and not having the bullying, not having the bully who's so stressed and anxious at home who needs to come to school and act out. And imagine being able to get those kids being able to have a tool. And it is getting into schools here. I know in the States it's in schools quite a lot. There's a number of schools that are sort of taking this on. Back down to children. I mean, we tap babies. We've already talked. We tap babies.
Right.
So we can do the tapping.
And that makes so much sense, especially the energy. I mean, we all know everybody's experienced trauma in their life. So when you relive or when you think about that moment, I mean, the energy that's around it, it exists, you know, whether that's anger or grief or just sadness or whatever it is, that is there. So this is fascinating that this can help relieve that.
And that little buzz you get in your energy circuitry, you know, something happens and you feel it bzzz, that's your fight or flight triggering. That's that amygdala in your brain, fight or flight instantly. Your brain's gone back and referenced something that's happened in your past that is similar to what's just happened. It's the thing in the past that we want to go back with tapping and rewire so you're not triggered in the today by rewiring the thing from the past. Because your brain can't, because something happens right this minute, you have to go back to a reference point for your brain to go, that was scary, that was frightening, that didn't make me feel safe.
Right. Right. Oh, this is fantastic. And this it's such a great alternative because there are a lot of people who, you know, are so used to therapy sessions looking like, you know, talk therapy, right? And that works for a lot of people, sure. But there are a lot of people who would never do something like that. And if this is something that they could dive into and it's 3 to 4 visits at max, like, my gosh, you might have like a whole slew of humans that are like, yes, I need this.
Totally. So think about our whole slew of humans who also can use their own hands in the moment. Your boss says something to you at work, it upsets you, you take yourself off to the bathroom, you find your favorite tapping point on your body and you just tap for a couple of minutes in the bathroom, you are going to calm your circuitry right down. Your mum says something again, your husband, one of the kids, you just do a couple of minutes of tapping on one point. You don't have to remember them all. I just pick one because it's easy. I don't have to think, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Or I'm safe, or I'm okay, or something that just affirms in this moment, I'm actually okay. Bring that energy down. Do something with the energy that's just triggered from that fight or flight response.
Oh, I love this.
Yes, this is amazing. And for all our listeners at home, we'll have Lorna's info tagged on our Instagram and on our Facebook. Go ahead and search us out, get that information so that you can reach out to her. This has been so enlightening, really.
Yes. I mean, I can't believe we haven't heard of this before. This is so fascinating. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We learned so much. This was great. Thank you for being Unapologetically You.
And thank you for inviting me on, beautiful, bright and early here in Sydney, Australia, and letting me share my passion with your audience. So thank you, ladies.
We're so happy you joined us, and we hope this story inspired you to be unapologetically you. Join us next time for another remarkable journey. And if you or someone you know has a story to share, please reach out to us on our website at unapologeticallyupodcast.com.
Don't forget to like us on Instagram and Facebook at Unapologetically You Podcast. And please rate and subscribe on whatever platform you listen in on so that we can continue to inspire you.